you so-called blacks and Hispanics of the nation of Israel, rise up, man.
All praise to the Most High.
Don't let a young man be raised by a man. Listen, excuse me?
Why do you blame everything on the white man?
I'll give you a justified answer. All right, very simple. If you look all across this planet Earth, forget dealing with black people. I won't even deal with black people. If you go in the land of China, who invaded that? The white man. If you go in the land of Japan, who invaded that? The white man. If you go anywhere in the Middle East, who invaded that? The white man. Excuse me, sir. Hold on, sir. Please. I'm so, you know what I'm saying? If you go anywhere, hold on. If you go anywhere, the Aborigine people in Australia were invaded by who? The white man. The Aboriginal people, everywhere that you look on this earth, they were invaded by the white man. When you deal with the white man, let's just deal with actual war. I mentioned everywhere that you look on this earth, they were invaded by the white man. When you deal with the white man, let's just deal with actual war. I mentioned this earlier, right?
About helping Africa right now and sending food and money to Africa.
When you deal with America, right?
So,
okay, now I want you to understand this. This is not, I'm even black and all that stuff out. I'm trying to deal with common sense and reason. You know, whether we agree or disagree. Now understand this. When the Japanese pilots came over here, they bombed Pearl Harbor. That was a military base. So therefore, that was military action. And I'm speaking as a man that came from the military and war, just to show you. That was a military base and a military action. So that was between two militaries. Alright? So when they bombed Pearl Harbor, two militaries, that's it. But what America went and did, they took weapons of mass destruction and destroyed civilians, not soldiers. It's two different things. Because they could have bombed the bases in Japan, okay? But they didn't do that. They bombed the bases, they bombed the areas and cities where civilians live. So now now watch this.
Are you familiar with the concept of war?
When you deal with Iraq and Iran, right? Iraq and Iran. And we can go back to night when it first started. Guess what? It wasn't soldiers and it wasn't insurgents that were destroyed. It was civilians that were destroyed. Okay? And the only insurgents that they plowed against were those that were in the cities and towns trying to take it over. And they could have just left them and demolished them. Alright? So it's a lot more to it. So my point is this. Here's my point to you, what I'm trying to say. My point is this, to say this.
Everybody knows.
When you understand this, and here's where he's absolutely wrong in not understanding and knowing history, when you deal with Adolf Hitler, who was also named as Adolf Hitler, as you know, was a so-called Jew. Okay? Now, being a so-called Jew, I know you did, but look, that's why I gave you his real name instead of giving you the name Hitler. I gave you his real name. So when you look it up, he knew that they weren't Jews. Not at all. No, hear me out. No, that's what I'm saying. What is racism? What is racism? What is racism? Tell me what racism is. You see, that's one thing the white man brings.
I'll deal with racism.
I'm going to show you what he just did. You know what he just did? I'm going to show you what the white man just did. Watch this, brothers. This is what our people got to learn, especially black men, so we can understand not to fight each other. I'm going to show you what he just did. He said racism, right? I'm going to give you a fancy word for racism. It's called patriotism. Okay? And it's a fact. White men say, if you don't remember 9/11, you don't remember 7/7, he says, then the hell with you, you're a part of the enemy, right? Now guess what? But they quick to tell blacks and Hispanics to forget about slavery. But wait a minute. So 9/11, something's wrong. You see what I'm saying? So patriotism is a form of racism, and it's under the guise of America. When you understand America's guises, guess what? Who are they for? What are they for? So when you hear people like us speak, you say, oh, you're speaking hate, you're speaking racism. No, what we doing is just putting up the mirror. That's your reflection. That's what you're looking at. We telling you where you wrong. We telling you where you lie. Okay? Because again, so-called white man saying that I'm a Jew. But wait a minute. That's Moses. Let's see. Let's get Moses. Come on, man. The book of Exodus, chapter 4, verse 6. Come on. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, come on, put now thine hand into thy bosom. Because remember, Moses was scared to talk to the Israelites because he grew up as an Egyptian. So he said, put your hand in your bosom. Right? Come on, read. And he put his hand into his bosom. Come on. And when he took it out. Come on. Behold. He looked at it. Go ahead. His hand was leprous. It was leprous. Come on, read on. As snow. It was white. It turned white. The Lord wanted to show him, look, man, I got your back. Don't worry about that. So he pulled it out. Now, if it turned white, let's see what happened. Come on, read. And he said, put thine hand into thy bosom again. So he put it back. Come on. And he put his hand into his bosom again. Read. And plucked it out of his bosom. Come on. And behold, come on, it was turned again as his other flesh. It was turned again as his other flesh. What color was Moses? He was a black man. That's why Pharaoh's daughter was able to take him, you understand, to Pharaoh. Because remember, let's deal with common sense. If you go on the walls, right, when you deal with the Pharaoh, now see, the white man, I'm going to show you.
He said he
semantics. Here's why he plays semantics. When you deal with leprosy in ancient times, right now, they'll take the definition and tell you that leprosy is for boils and so forth and so on. That's what they tell you now, right? But in ancient times, understand this. Leprosy is a form of lack of melanin. When you don't have melanin pigmentation. What melanin pigmentation does is protect you and shield you from the sun's rays. Now understand this. We know in ancient times that the sun's rays were a whole lot stronger and hotter than they are today. How do we know? Because the position of the earth. Because the earth is already tilted. It's already tilted 53 point something miles. It's already tilted. So it came back. So now when we understand this, guess what? If you had the complexion and the skin that they have back then over there, you're going to get boils on your white skin. You understand? So this is why they give you a modern definition for leprosy. Okay? Because if it dealt in connotated with color, everybody had to be black. The ancient pharaohs were black. Queen Time, you go to look up Tiber, she was black. They were black on those walls. This is why you can only tell the Bible story by invading the land where the Arabs are. That's why you see Ottoman Turks in those lands. Why? Because they look white, so the so-called Palestinians look that way. So the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew, he can go, see, look at them. If you take away that story, those people in Egypt, the whole dynamic changes. That's why where did they put the real Egyptians? They are all in the Sudan. And they all trying to come back over, but they don't want them back over. Yeah. So there's a lot of lies that's going on. And this is why we are the only people that call ourselves a color. A color? Everybody got a nationality, but we're a color. And understand this, that started when we came over here on the ships. Think about it. What would you call a nigger first? Huh? Then why? Where did you come from? In the land of the region, the word nigger, Niger, Nagus, meaning king, meaning ruler. So this is what they pronounce, called us niggers, from that shores, from the Gold Coast. Because this is where the Israelites went into West Africa, coming down from Northeast Africa and traveling in there. So when they got us from the Gold Coast and the Gold region, you could type these maps in today and type in the word Judah, Kingdom of Judah. It's going to come up in the Gold Coast. Why is that? Then they take them, ask this, give me Revelation 2:9 and Revelation 3:9. Let's see, a white man that calls himself a Jew was never a slave, ever. Never. He was never on cargo slave ships. So why did God give Moses a prophecy to state where we was going to be? Huh? Can I talk? How did that happen to them? You understand that, brother? I'm having a dialogue with my brother, and I want to give you enough respect not to take your head off because you're a little disrespectful. So I'm talking to him. So we done. All right, I read Revelation chapter 2, verse 9. Come on. I know thy works. He said, I know thy works. Come on. And tribulation. Who's in tribulation? Not the so-called white man that calls himself a Jew. You can go over there on 47th and 46 in the Diamond District and see who owns all the diamonds. You can come on over here and see what? Viacom. All these things are owned by the so-called Jew. Every piece of media you see is owned by the so-called Jew because he has to tell the story. The word media coming from the ancient Phoenicians. Okay? The Midianites. Look it up. And what do? They use witchcraft and certain things that they would show to people, certain powers of magic in order to control them. And this is why you have the word today called media. That's why every paper and everything you read comes from their narrative. It doesn't come from the truth of what really happened. All right, read on what you got. Come on. And tribulation. And poverty. And tribulation and poverty. Who's in poverty? They're not. You are. But let's see what God said. Come on. But thou art rich. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven since the beginning was promised unto us. Read. And I know. He said, and I know what? The blasphemy. That's a filthy, wicked lie. The blasphemy of who? Of them which say they are Jews. Black people don't call themselves Jews. It's only so-called white man. He said, I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews. Come on. And are not. And are not. But who are they? But are the synagogue of Satan. The word synagogue means chief house. The chief house of Satan. Hallelujah. They're above all of that. So he said, you understand that, brother? But see, this is what they don't teach in the church, none of that thing. So we understand that we're the dear children of God. The narrative changes. But they don't want that out. You understand? Read what you got. Come on. The book of Revelation. Come on. Chapter 3, verse 9. Come on. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. The so-called white man that calls himself a Jew. Come on, read. Which say they are Jews. Come on. And are not. Come on. But do lie. They do lie. Come on, read. Behold. Come on. I will make them to come. And that, brother. But see, this is what they don't teach in the church, none of that thing. So we understand that we're the dear children of God. The narrative changes. But they don't want that out. You understand? Read what you got. Come on. The book of Revelation. Come on. Chapter 3, verse 9. Come on. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan. The so-called white man that calls himself a Jew. Come on, read. Which say they are Jews. Come on. And are not. Come on. But do lie. They do lie. Come on, read. Behold. Come on. I will make them to come and worship before thy feet. The Most High's going to do that, man. They're going to bow because they're going to realize they can't hide this anymore. This is why they try to say, oh yeah, black people were Jews too. They can't hide it no more. They done it. It's finished. It's over. So now they'll find this as a racism thing running. So they put in like people competing with each other. But who made this up? Who did that? They did that. Ancient people didn't do that. They knew who they were. It's okay, this is us, this is our land, these are our people. Look, we want to make agreements with you. Let's do this, let's go to war and battle here. Real simple. But they don't want to change the narrative to take everybody's land. But the white man can't take that. Because you want to say, forget about the past. But we got to remember everything else. I know you don't like it, you're not supposed to like it. Because you was taught differently. Your history books teach us differently. All throughout this world. That you're the best people. That you're the greatest people. But understand this, if God was fair, like everybody say with everything, whatever, how come he didn't ever bless you with melanin? How come he never blessed you with pigmentation? How come you have recessive genes like blue eyes, hazel eyes, and green eyes? These are recessive degenerative genes. That means that you are on a degenerative level. You are deteriorating. And this is what they don't realize. Now when you understand this, but they the first people to talk about evolution. Here's how they flip evolution on us. They say, oh, those things that came last are better. They're better than the other things. But wait a minute. So then if that's the case, then let's go into the gene pool. How could it be better when you're inferior based on your deterioration of how your genes are made? That's science. But they tell you everything else about science. That's why they came up with the cockamamie story. Oh, the black man's brain. Oh, it's small, all this other nonsense. But how could your brain be that small when yet you built the castles in Timbuktu? Huh? Yeah, where was he living? Huh? In the goddamn cave when Timbuktu was erected. And that was just recent, huh? Who was the one? If your brain that small, black man, black woman, black child, Hispanic man, woman, and child, if your brain that small, then how come he thought the earth was flat? During the time of Columbus, this in the 1400s, baby. Think about it. White man don't want y'all to open your book, and that real book is your mind and the book of the Most High. That's right. He don't want you to open that. Just in the 1400s, they thought the earth was flat. When you were the navigators of the seven seas. Huh? Man, that case is closed. That story is done. And so is your people's existence, man. Don't say it for long.
Most High, Yahweh, Yahweh. And I want to give praises to all those who are out there doing their thing. To the elects and the saints, much respect. Salutations. Now, you see, we got some issues going on here. Now, as we proceed to learn who we are, as you see the brother just broke down, you will always see a lot of Jewish people trying to deflect and trying to make it seem as if we're not who we are. And it will get other people, as you will see in this next video, this next clip, that the sister got completely distracted by this prick coming in trying to distract her from her history, because the brother was really breaking down in this lesson. He was really breaking it down. Now, I want y'all to check out the scriptures, check out the book, check them all out. Check out this word. Check out the context in which he's talking about, the denotations, because you see, the Bible is wordplay, baby. It's legalese. Like, it's Shakespeare. It's a work of art. Okay? Now, if you do not understand those things, then you just won't understand. I was taught to read the Bible, so, I was taught to read with the Bible, excuse me. Now, I have been blessed to know these things for a long time. I ask these questions, I've been searching for the truth ever since I was born. Since I can remember, about 3 or 4 years old. So I just been waiting for y'all to wake up. Finally, y'all woke up. Time is now. Prepare. Get your things together. There is much work to be done. When you are ready, I will be here.
Of the Bible that said, whosoever believeth in me shall not perish. You explain world, but you never explain whosoever.
So hold up. First of all, I'd like to rewind. Everybody, if you could listen to that. He said nowhere. He said, excuse me. Why can't I talk? Why can't I talk? I'm talking now.
He said that whosoever
in the Bible nowhere mentions circumcision, right? Excuse me.
Understand whosoever.
You said it said nowhere. You said it said the Bible.
Shall be saved. Watch it. Ye men of Israel. Say ye men of Israel.
Then the story. Then the story. If I can't speak, that just shows that you are not confident with what you're saying.
In the city of Corinth, in the city of Ephesus, and all these cities that you read in the New Testament, they were Hebrew Israelites in those cities. And Paul went and called himself the prophet to go unto these people. Now they were amongst the other nations. So when he said the Israelites were going to be saved, that's why he said, hear these words, ye men of Israel. And this was a prophecy that he went back from the book of Isaiah. That's why we read Isaiah 45:17. You understand? When it says, and that didn't even happen yet, because the world it's not even over. And if you listen to that prophecy, you get that prophecy.
Okay, who wants to hear what I have to say? Does anybody want to hear what I have to say? Clearly, anybody hear what I have to say?
That was the nation of Israel that they're talking about. We ain't gonna go so, and that's not our opinion.
How would you say that?
Let's read that again. Isaiah chapter 45,
for no reason.
verse 17. But Israel, he said, now this, watch this. Now this didn't happen yet. This is a future prophecy. Go on, read. But Israel, he said, her husband, being a just man, I know it hurts your feelings. It's supposed to. It's supposed to be nonsense. You want me to, because that's what y'all trying to teach the people. But I ask you this. You see this right here?
Yes.
You see this?
Yes.
What is this right here? Huh? It's a Bible. But what language is this right here? What Hebrew are you speaking of? Give me the other Bible. See, we like this. You know why we like this? Because this is what you call Hebrew, right? Yeah. No, here's the problem. Listen, I'm going to show you something. Because if you don't know that this is Hebrew, then you don't understand Hebrew. Let's understand this. Here, listen, I'm going to tell you right now. And I'm going to ask you a question. See if you tell me. Now, you see this script? This writing? This script, right? Who was the prophet that introduced this script to the nation of Israel? And in what captivity?
I can't answer that.
I know you can't, so you don't know Hebrew. See, people, we'll tell you what that's why I pull this up. Listen, show you why.
Who invented English? Hold on. Who invented English?
Very easy.
Who invented English?
The ancient Britons. Listen close.
That's incorrect.
Who's the
first person that did it? Who's the first
The ancient Britons.
You asked me.
You know the ancient Britons?
me a person.
The ancient Britons.
I'm
giving you a
ancient Hebrews invented Hebrew. Ancient Hebrew invented Hebrew.
See this?
Am I any wrong in what he's saying?
I'm going to show you why he's
Ancient Hebrews invented Hebrew.
Check this out.
Right? Tell me what's Hebrew.
Here's how the man is very deceptive. I said, what is this? He said, this is not Hebrew.
That is
right?
correct.
Now guess what? He said, this is Hebrew.
Correct.
So I asked him, which prophet introduced this script?
Which prophet?
And under what captivity? Now,
first of all, I don't believe in any person as being a god. That's
okay.
number one.
Listen, I'm going to ask you that. Who introduced this script?
What do you mean, God? God introduced that.
Here's where he's wrong.
God
introduced Ezra introduced the script. Okay? After the Assyrian captivity, this script was introduced to the nation of Israel. What this is called, the block script. Okay?
That's incorrect.
So, and they call it modern Hebrew.
That's incorrect.
All right? Now, he don't know what this is ancient Paleo Hebrew. Okay? This is the phonetic writing. Okay? That the Hebrews in the land of Phoenicia and the land of Syria that they were writing. Okay? This is phonetic Hebrew, sister. This is the true Paleo ancient Hebrew. Okay, sister? So what he's saying, he don't know. He said, I don't know what this is, but he said, this is modern Hebrew. This came later. This came under the prophet Ezra. So if you don't know that, you don't know what you're talking about.
So, okay, so let me ask you a question.
You understand that, sister? It's real simple, sound confusing because I'm
aside from
hold on, please, sir. Show some decorum. Watch this. this Phoenician script?
Like
the Phoenicians, this goes a connection to the Hamitic people. The Hamitic people also has similar script during the time of Moses.
I just gotta say this, y'all. At the end of the day, when that white boy came up, when that Jewish kid came up, he basically threw her off. Like, he completely threw off the whole situation, and that's why he got destroyed like he did in the first part of the video. Like, I had to do that. Like, it was, and he didn't know what he was talking about, but it's confusion like that will completely confuse her. I mean, he's just what he's talking about.
What Hamitic people had the similar script during the time of Moses? The people that call themselves ancient Cometians or Tamarans, or who we call today use the Egyptian word called them Egyptians. In the Hebrew, they called them Mizraim. Okay? So now when we understand this, there was a similar script that Moses used that could be found on the walls of Egypt. So now if you don't know this, then I know you're not a Hebrew Israelite. Because this is how Moses was signified and dignified through those people, because Pharaoh went and took him, his daughter went and took him and presented him as her own son. So now that says what? Because we know the ancient Egyptians were black people. Now how they look today. So then what does that describe Moses to me? As black people. So this Semitic script connects even to a Hermetic scripts. Okay? A writing and language which they don't teach nobody. So this is why I tell you about this translation. So this is a modern translation. And any so-called Jew or so-called white man that calls himself a Jew, when they speak this, guess what they do? They speak something called Yiddish. And that Yiddish, excuse me. I'm not speaking of it. That's completely incorrect. That's complete. Here's how we know. Yiddish is a German. Yiddish is a Germanic language. Excuse me. German and Polish. Excuse me. Are you a rabbi? Are you a rabbi? Are you a rabbi? Are you a rabbi? That's all I'm asking. No, I'm a rabbi. What does rabbi have to do with anything? Because rabbis tell us that they speak Yiddish. So you're going to go Yiddish. 100% correct. So now when you understand it. Okay, excuse me. So they do speak Yiddish. That is correct. Here's the problem. Yiddish is a Germanic language. Because rabbis, you know why they speak the Yiddish? The rabbis speak the Yiddish very simply. The reason why they speak Yiddish? Okay, you sure? So you're going to go Jew, right? Here's my question. Yeah, okay, I'm listening. Are you a Jew? 100%. Now guess what? 100%. Now here's my next question for you. You had a moil, didn't you? 100% I did. Now I'm going to show y'all something. Give me Deuteronomy about the homosexuality real quick. Now he's had out a moil. Now I'll tell you what a moil is. You know what a moil is? You can't find it nowhere in the Bible. You can't find it nowhere in Torah. Excuse me. I'd like to interject. I'm asking you to show me some respect. I'm talking, my man. My man, I'm talking. You interrupt. Let me speak. Let me speak and then you can talk. I asked him a question. Now watch this. I asked him a question. Is he a Jew? He said yes. So I asked him. I said you had a moil, right? Now, you know what a moil is? A moil. And guess what? He goes to take the babies, right? When they get circumcised on the 8th day, and he puts his mouth on their penis to bite the foreskin and suck the blood off. Incorrect. Now guess what? Incorrect. Incorrect. Google it right now. You know, all y'all can take out your phones right now. Here's why you can't have all y'all because in Torah, no man puts his mouth on a child's penis. No man puts his mouth on a child's penis. Did a man put his mouth on your penis? Did a man put his mouth on your penis? Yes or no? Yes or no? So I'd like to speak. Did a man put his mouth on your penis? Yes or no? I'd like to speak. I'm not asking anything. You know why? Because he did. And that's not. You so-called blacks and Hispanics of the nation of Israel, rise up, man. All praise to the Most High.